right, welcome everyone. I hope you're excited for today because for sure we are, because we are back with a live broadcast. And it's something we kickstarted last week, where we invite the project where we as Reform are the market maker for to the broadcast to know everything about their projects, because I can imagine everyone that's watching us and that's following Reform is also super excited about the project that we work with. So yeah, we're just gonna chill out a little bit. I see already some people started joining the broadcast, but of course we want to see a lot more people to join us today. And we have a very interesting one coming up as well, because it's episode 2, the Reform Designated Market Making Broadcast. I think that sounds still a bit cringy, Jess. We need to find a different name for this broadcast. This is a little bit...
It's a mouthful, man. That's one thing for sure.
But we'll see how it goes. I mean, we need to brainstorm a little bit on that side. Yeah, so for everyone watching us today, if you don't know yet, I mean, I think most people already know by now, but my name is Paul. I'm the host of the broadcast. Next to that, I also host Paul's Penthouse. I host the other broadcasts on Reform. So you've probably seen me before. And it's not just me today. I'm actually joined by my colleague, my friend, and my core contributor, Mr. Jess. Jess,
Exactly.
how are you today? All good?
Yeah, good, man. Pleasure to be here again and to dive into another project that we're involved with from a market making point of view. Always nice to have those to shine a light on the incredible partners that we work with, because all of them one by one are creating very cool products, and we're very happy to support them in their journey. So without further ado, back to you, Paul, and
absolutely
guide the way.
Yeah. I mean, and even more important, besides me and you, Jess, of course, it's the man of the hour. I would say we are joined by no one other than Pascal. How do I pronounce your name correctly? Because I don't want to make...
It's Pasquale, but I think
Pasquale.
I've been getting used to being called, Pascal, Pascali. It is what it is. I don't really mind it. It's fine.
I'll try. My
it's fine.
Spanish classes was a long time ago, but I'll give it a try today. Now, Pasquale is the co-founder and CMO of a company called BloodLoop. And they're doing something very, very cool, I feel. It fits right up my alley. I've been a gamer all my life, so I'm pretty excited about today. But before we dive all into that part, Pascal, I would love to know a little bit more about you as a person. So maybe can you tell us through like your journey, your I guess your career? I mean, I don't think you're that old yet, looking at the at the camera, but I'm very curious to know more about where did you start your journey, your working career, your Web3 career, up to the point where BloodLoop became a thing.
Well, I'm not that old, but I definitely started young when it comes down to my online career. Now I've been working. I think I started the first ever. So to give you some background, I'm currently CMO and co-founder at BloodLoop. So I handle everything marketing, comms, strategy for game launch, and we also do a bit of creative sides on whether it's game economy and everything else. My journey started, I would say, back in 2014, 2015. Even a bit earlier than that, I would say, with e-commerce. I started as an e-commerce maxi. I was just doing online sales, started as a personal guide, then moved to B2B and kind of scaled out there with advertisement, creator management, influencer marketing, when influencers started becoming a thing. And I mostly did that for business that wanted to sell to other businesses, or business to customer relationship with e-commerces, local e-commerces and global scale e-commerces. In 2017, I discovered crypto, mainly for the speculative side of things, because that there were the main thing that back then was the ICO bull run. Everything was going up. All the ICOs were printing like solid 500,000 X's for people buying them, and then people were getting rugged. I made money, lost money, and temporarily left the space because I was like, yeah, it's interesting, but it's not developed, and but the concept of decentralization stuck with me for a long time. I really enjoyed the way things were designed over a blockchain, not just the crypto side of things, so the money side of things, but just the concept of a blockchain, a public ledger where everything was accountable for, and data could be transferred instantly because you could read from the blockchain, and everything was made public for people to read and build on top of. And because of that, in 2019, I came back to the space. People were looking for marketing. People were looking for influencer managers, because now all of a sudden there was another bull run happening, and everyone wanted a way to shine. And I've been doing that basically for 7 years of my life at that point. So I was like, hey, let's bring it over to Web3. And the main thing I noticed is that social media managing and social media marketing in Web2, gosh, it's way easier than Web3. Web3 right now, it's a hot mess, and it's becoming a hot mess more and more over time. And I loved being a native. Like I loved knowing things because I kept myself informed, but also had the Web2 experience, and I was like, okay, I can do it. And I've been working in the space since then, until 2021, when I met with Luca and all the rest of the team, which are my co-founders here at BloodLoop for this venture. And the idea kind of sparked between us. We've always been gamers. Part of our team is made of professional gamers. Some of us come from a gaming background as well, as in working around gaming and gaming for gaming. And we were like, let's do it. Axie was booming back then, but we realized that was not crypto gaming. There were other avenues we could follow, another path we could go through, because of course that was not gaming, that was DeFi with a funny gaming interface back then. And we started BloodLoop. We raised funds, and we've been building since then. We've been building for the past 3.5 years now, I would say, with the game being basically ready for going to market now, with our launch coming up in about 2 months from here.
Very interesting. And you said, how long exactly were you building? Because I guess you're officially started this, but before that, there was, I guess, a time where you were thinking about this, right? Together with your co-founder, working it out. Like, what was the first? I mean, I always like to say when, but more importantly, why did you start BloodLoop? But like, what was that first initiation? Like, you said a lot about being in e-commerce, being like you're one of these, I guess, millennial Gen Z type of guys that are super early with things. I recognize a lot of that in the people we work with in our team, and I think it's a general sign of people that try to build and get successful in Web3 in general are people that have this characteristics. But then that means you don't come across to me necessarily yet as being a diehard gamer. So like, where did this whole idea come from in the first place?
Well, BloodLoop was not my personal right away idea, as in I was invited over a concept being already built from Luca, our CEO and my co-founder. Initially it sparked up as we want to make a game, like we want to make a proper game that has blockchain rails. And now it might sound like standard, as in there are, I would say, 1,000, 2,000 Web3 games building simultaneously in the space. But back then, man, it was something crazy to think about. We were, I would say, one of the first movers in general of the space, together with Shrapnel. Maybe Off the Grid was already building back then, but it was still Gunzilla. Like there were no Off the Grid name; it was just Gunzilla back then. Everything else was on-chain gaming. Like everything else was DeFi Kingdoms. Everything else was Axie, CryptoKitties, Crypto Blades. Fuck, I still remember those names, and they come up to my mind, and I was like, wow. And a lot of those sadly didn't make it, and a lot of also games in our cohort didn't make it so far, because of course it's a difficult journey building a game. It's a difficult industry. It's a money-consuming industry, and it's a time-consuming industry, and we all know, especially you guys as market makers, how time doesn't really align well with crypto, specifically when time is stretched and it's a lot of time. But we had the idea. The first conversation sparked up, I would say, September of 2021. From then, it took us 3 to 4 months to properly build up the concepts, build up everything we had in our mind. The first discussions and the first things we started building were the early 2022. That was an MVP, of course. We had to raise funds, so we went through all the fundraising hoops. We started building the first 5 to 10 people's team, which helped us get started. And then we just kept on building. 2023 was a pivotal moment for us because we raised the biggest chunk of our funding and we actually closed our fundraising. And with that, we built throughout the whole 2024 to finalize and polish up the product. It comes in stages, as in we started small, then we got to a medium-sized team, and then we managed to scale over a 50-people team at times when we were full-blown capacity working as a studio to finalize the product. Of course, normally a product doesn't take this long to come to market, but we had to adapt to the funding that we had over time. So we kind of made it a hustle, and we made sure that the more we raised, the faster we could go and the best product we could deliver. And we did our best with that. And now we are basically ready, as I said before. So yeah.
Yeah, very excited. I mean, I completely understand it's such a tedious process and such a long process to build a proper game, right? I remember, I think when you guys started was the same time as when Shrapnel started. I think in that time you had Collider Craftwork with their tournament, or their, I think there was a couple of these larger projects in Web3 back then that were kicking off something. So I think that's around the time when you started as well. And I was always amazed because I was personally very involved in the NFT branch back then, but I was amazed by all these projects claiming like we're building a AAA game. And then I was looking on Web2 and I was like, man, these studios spending like $30-40 million on this game with like teams of hundreds of people. What is the 4 of you in your mom's bedroom gonna do, right? Like it doesn't make sense. So I was always super amazed by that. And that made it super obvious for me to only stick with companies like a Shrapnel or Collider, where there was like massive studios behind it that you're like, okay, I can see something happening, but it's gonna be at least a couple of years. So it's good to hear that you also did that, because I think it shows credibility, right, for a game that you've been building for a long time. You have an extensive team, you're putting in the work. So that's very interesting. And maybe we can dive a little bit into BloodLoop. Like obviously you did a little bit of a touch on it, but what is it? What is the type of game? What is the whole idea around it? How does it work? Give us a run through.
Well, the main concept, the main genre of the game, BloodLoop is a hero shooter game. It's a third-person hero shooter game, basically. Although it's way different from the standard competitors you will see in the genre. Whenever I have to describe BloodLoop to a gamer, the first thing that comes up to my mind is imagine Quake plus Overwatch. So you get all the hero shooting side of things, you get all the abilities, you get all the good things about the hero shooters, but you don't get that sustained, overly long combat periods where you just keep on shooting at each other and no one dies because the abilities are overpowered or everyone just keeps on staying alive. The combat system is way more closed, like it's more a close combat system. You get to go head to head with your opponent. Characters and abilities move fast. Things move fast in the game as well. The maps are not too big, so you get to encounter the enemies. You get to actually have a showdown in the arenas. And it's funnier because it's more frenetic in a way, and it keeps you engaged. It keeps you entertained. Like a match can last, depending on the game mode, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, for example. Even if it lasts 20 minutes, it's 20 minutes of action. It's not 20 minutes of just recapturing the same point or doing the same things. And because of that, I think the gameplay is very dynamic in that sense. Currently, the game features over 7 maps, 5 characters. The end goal will be to double the characters, have more maps. We have a series of game modes that we offer. The main one being Energy War, which is our signature game mode. It's tied into the story and the lore of the game. I will not go too deep into that because we could talk about the lore of the game for hours. And that's something we're very big on too. Like, we truly believe that story and lore behind characters, behind maps, behind the game is very important because it passes on a message rather than just, buy the token because the game is good. People in Web2 doesn't really care about that. They care about how deep they can feel immersed into the story. And if they are, they will buy. And as a Web3 user, you benefit from that because people are buying up your assets whilst they are just having fun.
And is it only PvP, or can you play like a campaign single player mode as well?
As of now, we are offering only a PvP multiplayer mode. The goal will be throughout 2025 or beginning of 2026 to possibly implement a PvE mode with a series of game modes where you have you collaborate with your friends to get through challenges. Although it's not the main focus right now of the game. The game will be available on PC. might be available for consoles throughout the development journey into 2025, but it's not coming live at launch like that. And the markup for the game to be released, like the internal marked hard date, is the beginning of May of this year. I will just go in depth a bit also on the Web3 and NFT side of things, which I think is also what really interests the public that we have right now the most.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure, because I got a lot
Okay.
of questions on that, definitely. I'm just a little bit more curious about the game in general. I mean, as I said at the start, I'm a gamer. I've been gaming all my life. I mean, when I saw your background, I was actually very much like, wow, that's like Call of Duty meets Borderlands, right? Something like that. But it's nice. But Jess, you wanted to chime in for a second?
Yeah, no. You touched upon the lore, and I think, yeah, we cannot go too deep into it, but I think it's, also nice for people to indeed already have like a short version, I don't know, of the story, like what is behind it, because I think that also will give people the feel of, yeah, I don't know, more of the maps that you see, of course, in the back with well, what me and Paulus have, but also what you have. So yeah, just to get a feeling, right? I think that's
well, the LE5 of the lore is that there is a source of energy which we call the exotic matter that was discovered on planet Earth, that kind of led the advancement of the race way faster than what it would have been without that. So the human race made decades of advancements in years because of the exotic matter and how they managed to manipulate it, extract energy from it, and leverage it for the things that they needed to do. And sadly, though, it could not really interact with human matter, like with organic matter. They forced it, and that led to the destabilization of all the energy that was used on planet Earth, or the mother, which led to the destruction of planet Earth. People managed to escape, or at least a part of the population of the humans that were living on the Earth managed to escape. At that point, the humanity was already interplanetary because, of course, the energy allowed for international travel. Interstellar traveling, and that led to the creation of factions. Everyone wanted the last bit of energy that was still arrestable from the universe for them, because they wanted to get through the power, and they wanted to be able to leverage the big interdimensional powers that it gave. There's a lot of backstory there with entities and how, well, I don't want to jump too deep into that, but there will be a lot of info in the game. But let's just say, when you pick a character, when you are playing the game, you're playing someone part of one of the 4 factions available. And each faction is very distinguished from colors, the characteristics, the spells, the abilities, of course, the voice lines, the back lore, and everything else. Cool. And all the maps as well. So either you're playing in one faction outpost, or you're playing in a zone that was controlled by another faction. So it's all characterized around this lore, and everything is very well told from game elements. We have posters around the map. We have a lot of hints to the lore. We have stories, the voice lines, and the connection between characters when they meet each other. So there's a lot of things you can pick up from that, and there will be a lot of cinematics and things around those as well.
Nice. It really is. I'm remembering a lot of different games that I played when you talk through the lore and how I touch points of those in other games. But I like it. It's a combination of things, which I think is always good, because I think something, how you explain it now, I don't think I at least know, and I don't know every game, of course, but like it doesn't directly connect me to a game. So it at least intrigues me to be interested to play the game directly. So that's good. And why did you guys choose to go for a 5v5 shooter, basically, instead of I mean, I get the fast-paced stuff, at least, for me, that's why I always played Call of Duty instead of Battlefield, right? It's like short, to the point, small maps, small amount of people. But was there another reason for you guys to go specifically for this game mode or this game style?
I think it boiled down to a series of reasons. One being funding, as in we had to build what we could do. So we sat down, we talked to each other, we realized how much we could raise as a team, we realized how far we could go, and we had a series of ideas. Hero shooter was the first one, honestly. So like, we didn't really move from idea to another, and we to pick that. The other idea was a more RPG style game, but of course that takes a lot more time and a lot more funding. And the third idea was an on-chain game, which is still something I think we will be pursuing as a studio at some point. The main concept was we want something where the game economy is important. We want something where we know people are known for spending money. We want something where people want cosmetics, where people want to appear, want to get the items that they need, want to interact with the game economy because it's already eradicated in their mind from other games that they've played. Web3 works the best when you have people that are ready to spend money. Of course, we are offering them collectibles, we're offering them tradable assets, we're offering them the opportunity to create an inventory, the opportunity to stack up on an inventory, get their collectibles in, craft them, trade them. But if the game genre doesn't really allow it to happen, then you don't get the opportunity to kind of offer them it in general, because it becomes harder if it's not already eradicated into their mind. And at the same time, when we started building BloodLoop, we already saw the decline of hero shooters. So Overwatch has been the market leader for a while. Valorant came in, but Valorant I don't really think can be kind of tied into the niche of hero shooters. It's more a tactical shooter because, of course, you know, shooting matters the most. It's similar to Counter-Strike, where you need to be very good with shooting, aiming, and everything. It's not just about the abilities. And sadly, Overwatch started failing when they announced Overwatch 2, but they didn't deliver, and all the things that happened around Overwatch 2, the PvE mode that got cancelled, and Blizzard that got cancelled, and a lot of different things. So it was clear that the market was yielding and was demanding for a new, was yearning for a new hero shooter, but no one was coming to market. Concord was, but sadly they got canceled too. And Marvel Rivals is a great game that also managed to hit the market because of the need of a hero shooter. And that's why we picked this game, this genre, this style, and so on.
It's pretty nice because you guys
Fair
also have, like, you know, you pretty unique features, I would say. So yeah, whenever you guys go to market and there's not a lot of competition at the moment, then yeah, you know, you can conquer quite a big market for the people that like this kind of gameplays with a very cool story behind it.
Yep.
Exactly. And you, I mean, you already brought to light, of course, one of the most important things that we need to talk about today. But obviously, you also have your own token, BLS. The game is powered by this. So maybe you also mentioned NFTs. So let's do them one by one, I guess. Would we first dive in the token or first in the NFT part?
I think they are so intertwined and so connected that we will dive in both at the same time.
You know what? Floor is yours. You know,
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, let us know, like, what's how is it integrated with each other?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So, well, the token is the beating art of the in-game transaction. So, first of all, BloodLoop runs and will run on its own layer 1, which is built on top of Avalanche. So, Avalanche offers the opportunity to deploy your own layer 1 with their what was so called the subnet technology. And with that, we build our own gas fee modular layer 1, where we can control the way people pay for gas fees inside of the game. As in, we completely sponsor or remove the gas fees for people that are just coming into the game and need to perform the basic transaction of interacting with the game, creating an account, getting their first items, getting to play the first games, so that you don't really feel cut out from the product because you didn't invest money into it. It will be crazy for us to demand people to pour money into a game they never played. But at the same time, once they start trading assets and they start creating things and everything, the subnet layer 1 runs on BloodLoop as the gas token. So BLS is the gas token, is the native token for the chain, is deployed as a native token for the chain, and is teleported back to Avalanche C chain through teleporter and their technology that allows you to move tokens back and forth seamlessly between chains and message between chains. On top of that, once you get into the game and you start playing, the first thing that you will notice as a user is that at the end of every match, you will be rewarded with chests. Those chests randomly contains a certain rarity of materials that you can refine and then use to craft skins and items inside of the game. Materials, skins, and the the refined version of the materials are all NFTs that you need to craft and you need to trade inside of the product. The catch here is that the amount of NFTs that are available are not unlimited. You can't just make a skin because you have the materials. There are blueprints available. Sorry, available
Pleasure.
in the, thank you, available in the market. And when you start crafting, you will notice that when you go to the forge, which is our crafting part inside of the game, there are a limit cap on the amount of skins that can be crafted. If the blueprints are over and if everyone has already crafted the skin, you can't make it anymore. So there's a cap on the amount of skin that can be minted inside of the game, and that kind of creates the scarcity for the players and for the ecosystem and for the economy of the product itself.
Yeah, time
When
to
it
get
comes,
hyperinflation in a couple of years, right?
yeah,
When the old skins
exactly.
become super sought after.
No, but the point is hyperinflation is a problem in Web2 games as well, and in
Mhm.
Web2 economies as well. When you look at World of Warcraft, for example, they had to deal with hyperinflation a lot of different times, because when you have an economy that is based on top of materials that people can farm and obtain, and everything is based off, that scaling system where with 5,000 of these, you make one of these, and then you need 10 of these to create another thing, and so on. People will start farming the base materials, and then everything kind of progresses through that. And if you can't manage the way those base materials are distributed throughout your game, you will overinflate your material supply, and everything will become so easy to craft and so cheap for people to buy off the market that you completely remove the gameplay elements and the need to farm and the need to play from your game. The main difference there is that for World of Warcraft, they can just remove the items from people's inventory, come up with an excuse and give them some gold to compensate. We can't, because it's NFTs, and we need to make sure that everything we do and everything we deploy, we can be accountable for, because we will never be able to remove items from people's inventories, because that will be us removing potential money from people's inventories, things that they actually own, and we need to make sure that everything is properly and well balanced. But yeah, apart from that, with all the materials and the refined materials that you obtain, you can go to the forge and you can craft things. We came to the conclusion, but to craft things, you need to pay a fee. You need to pay up for the forge. That is the people that are making your skins, the NPCs that are crafting your items and putting in time. And of course, you will have to wait for them to finish up the crafting for you. And to do that, you pay an ongoing and rolling fee in BLS. Rolling and ongoing, why? Because we want to make sure that the base point, the entry point for the economy in the game stays low. You can't have a game where the entry point goes to $1,000 to create something. If the price of the token goes up, the cost to craft something goes down. It's market based, and we have an index market, an indexer on the market that keeps on getting prices and quotes a different crafting price from time to time. And these also kind of pushes user to get the best time to craft, to accumulate on tokens, then finalize and realize when they want to craft, and to kind of dynamically adjust to how the market reacts and how the market behaves, making the in-game economy more balanced, but also more interesting to the people that are involved into it. You don't have to necessarily play the game to be involved into the economy. You can provide skins and you can provide materials to users by purchasing stuff from our website, from our market, online market that will be available once the game goes live. And people in game can purchase from you if you don't really like gaming, but you want to participate into the economy. But of course, people playing will always have the best deals because they will get the materials for free. The more they play, the more materials they get, the more they can put on the market, and the more they can kind of fuel the economy for everyone else. And even if you don't want to purchase the tokens right away, there are ways for you as a user to get the crafting tokens or to get free craftings going from time to time, which are playing. The more you progress through your battle pass, the more rewards for you get, which are not sellable tokens, but are free craftings or ways for you to get your items done without having to spend money initially, which might then be purchased from the market, from people, or from liquidity injections or from rewards. And then now you are playing with money and you can create your skins, you can purchase and sell them, and now you have skin in the game and it becomes interesting for everyone. The end goal here is to make, one, an economy that is sustainable, two, an economy that rewards the early user, like the Web3 adopters that were there before the players got into the game, and three, an economy that can involve people that have no idea about crypto and what they're doing, but they still want to have fun with the product that they like. And to make that, we kind of balance those out with seamless onboarding, easy to start economy systems, and also things that are already being seen mixed up with things that are unique but very well explained into the product.
Really well thought through, man. It's like a very thorough explanation where I think, the economy itself is actually, I did not hear any other Web3 game that actually structured it like this, because this actually means that, people are able to get something by playing the game, but it's not something that's going to directly put selling pressure on the token, right? And that's, I think, really smart, because it just gives people like the blueprint actually, and the things that they need to craft the items that they then can sell. Are there like any blueprints, just out of curiosity, like that have only like one blueprint, or like two or three, like amounts that people can craft them, if you get what I mean? So that is like super ultra rare.
There are tiers in the skins that we offer, which goes from common to legendary. Based on the tier, the skins have also the effects, custom sound effects, and custom titles or custom animations. And there are skins that are very limited in number in regards of how many can be crafted. We don't really do one-on-ones unless it's like for custom unique rewards from events.
Yeah.
Just because it will be very hard. Like it will generate more hate than make people feel kind of important about it. But there will be very limited tiers, like very limited mint amounts for a series of skins. Yeah.
Cool. I just got an idea, I was just thinking like, there are no one-on-ones, like, we only do that for like partnerships, those kind of things. So it's pretty funny actually, because with Reform, we have Luigi as one of the core contributors, representing, one of the core contributors actually. But he was actually created originally all in 3D. So like fully modeled and everything. So it's just, thing that got to my head, like, would be great, or would be very, very cool to have Luigi walking around in the game on time.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually it might be interesting, because we were on a path of doing something with gaming, right? I mean, it's something we've never really publicly brought out to the light, and it's a project that's dormant.
Yeah.
There's quite some things that we have in house already that could be interested for a game. So it's nice. I like that idea, and I think it's also smart, right? Because exactly how you explained, with the blueprints, you can control basically the flow on the market, because people can farm whatever they want to farm. There's only an X amount of blueprints, right? So it doesn't matter how many resources there are in circulation afterwards. And then I think it's also relatively easy to come up with and add new blueprints in the game, right? It's like every month, every year, there's like stuff connected to seasons and to festivities, and so I think I like that a lot. That's quite a smart move on it. So what is like a minimum amount? And maybe you mentioned it, I'm not 100% sure, but like, what's the minimum amount a player needs to play the game? Because there must be some sort of a gas fee that they need to cover to turn items into NFTs at one point, right? Or is that something they can?
So the minimum, we don't really push users to have an initial minimum amount to get to play and craft the game, as in playing the game, getting into maps, getting into the lobbies. It's completely free. You can download it, you can play, you can create your account, you can start farming out your battle pass, and you don't have to pour any sort of money into the game to get to do that. That's completely free. If you want to craft and you don't have any crafting vouchers or crafting tokens that we offer to you as kind of a first-time user experience, which will happen, as in, if you just join the game, you don't need to pour money into it right away. You will need to do that later on, once you get interested, and that becomes something you want to do, because you don't want to force users to do that. Then the amount we're targeting for a skin rolls between $10 and $15, with legendary going to like $30-40. It really depends on the tier of the skins, but that's the range, like a standard range for a standard game of playing a skin. But that happens with our token. And the interesting thing is that every purchase that is done to create a skin doesn't really come back to the market, as in, it's people purchase those tokens and they purchase them to create something, but when they create something, those tokens goes to us as in they go to the smart contracts for crafting, and they are kind of removed from circulation. They stay there. They don't get back to the market to be sold from that same user, which means it's basically like they're adding towards the liquidity for the game. They're adding towards the pool of the money inside of the token itself, and everything that gets bought in the game. So of course we offer on ramps, we offer credit card payments, we offer people the opportunity to get into the product right away without having to have a KYC done or stuff like that, because we have partners that goes through Stripe or goes through the lowest, cheapest onboarding rails to get tokens purchased. And the funny part is that everything gets bought up from the DEX pool, because that's the way those on ramps are working. So it's basically sound money getting poured into the DEX pool that will never escape from the DEX pool itself, because they're there and they're destined to be there, because they're used for crafting. And that's why I think, token economies for games are interesting. It just makes sense. People want to
Yeah.
create things, want to be part of a circular economy that is that makes sense one way or another, and
Mhm.
that's what we're trying to build there.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
having some sort of a deflationary token in that way also is probably the only way to go to save the economy of your game, right? Otherwise, it will just hyperinflate within no time. And I think in this way, it actually stabilizes out of itself. Right? It becomes like a circular economy. And I think that's pretty nice.
Mhm.
Well, I'm pretty intrigued. I definitely will play the game. I've been pretty much against Web3 games, so it's interesting because I'm a diehard gamer and I just haven't seen projects building in Web3. I think the majority of projects that are building in Web3 don't face the reality that they will be outclassed by any of the big Web2 games going Web3, right? Like if Steam or GTA, whatever, goes Web3, all the Web3 products are out because they simply build better games. But I feel with BloodLoop, it's one of these projects that is actually building a quality game, and I think there's a big market for this. And not many games have touched this, in my experience in Web3, right? They're all launching for the sake of NFTs and crypto coins, but they're not launching for the sake of launching a proper game with a lore and something people want to play. And I think that's
I mean,
something you've tackled pretty well.
also the most interesting thing from my side is really that you're, binding two groups together, which is like, the crypto side people who actually would like to speculate on, yeah, a token or like assets that you can trade, like NFTs. And then on the other side, you have the people that play that actually, are the real value because they are the ones actually keeping the whole ecosystem alive. Whereby, yeah, the people who actually trade it are able to, also interact with those people playing it. So I think that's actually really, really, yeah, really, really cool. And one question actually from my side was also, so the BLS token, right?
Mhm.
Um, what you said it was going to go to like liquidity pools and all those kind of things. So that's all to like strengthen the overall ecosystem.
Mhm.
Are there like also maybe like tournaments or like those kind of things that you guys will organize where like prize pools, and will that be in BloodLoop? Will that be in dollars? Like, I think that's one of the key things that's really, coming more alive. Like it's actually, of course, the esports, whereby 10 years ago you had like prize pools of $500, and now you have prize pools of in like the bigger games of like millions of dollars, right? It became quite crazy, so it's growing. But also just curious, like if you guys are, will be doing those kind of things.
There will be prize pools involved. There will be rewards for users. The end goal is not to distribute them with standard type of events. Tournaments will be there. Esports is a big part of our strategy,
Cool.
and we want to make sure that we're able to reward the strong users one way or another. The end goal for us, though, is to intertwine the rewards with the ranked system directly into the game, and the way your MMR grows and the way you farm the game is getting good. Like the rewards will be there for who's putting in the work to get better, and to who's actually getting involved in the rankings and trying to improve their stats and improve the way they behave towards the game. So rewards will be there for people to grab. At the same time, yeah, we are definitely working and looking forward to integrating ways for having esports competition and big prize pools around those.
Cool.
But I also think esport is natural to a game, as in you can't really force it. It comes in as part of the evolution of a product, because people want get so strong that want to compete and show off that they're the best ones, So before we get to esports, we need to get to the point where people are ready to compete and show off.
Well, you have like a ranking system for that or something to actually measure it, or okay,
yeah,
cool.
we have an MMR system and a ranking system inside of the game, with leagues and everything. So the more you play ranked games, the more you can scale up and confront each other.
Nice, man. And then just one more question from my side, because I'm just I'm a gamer from heart, but at mind I'm like all day working, so never gaming actually.
Yeah, I was
which
about
is
to
actually
say, like, we need to stop working with gaming projects, because I see how enthusiastic you become in a while, and I become, it's like we don't have time to work anymore when this releases.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah. So like for the BLS token, right? I just always like to compare things to actually give listeners a better understanding. Can I, for example, compare it when you look, for example, at Fortnite, right? Everyone knows it. Can I compare it, so to say, to the V-Bucks? But then it's like true value. It's like not just paper tokens on a calculator or something, or on a database. No, now it's really like tokens on a blockchain, which have value through the liquidity pool, of course, and by the people playing it. So yeah, can I see it like that? That it's really like the asset, the in-game currency. Yeah.
I think it's you can compare it like that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, it's I think good to know for everyone to have some context.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super bullish how it works, I feel, and I think it's as you have said it, and I don't know exact words, but you said it's an interesting thing to look at, the tokenomics of a game, right? Because it's a bit different from regular projects in Web3, and I think that makes it so interesting, because it works so well. I feel like it's a proper use case of blockchain technology, to emphasize it in a game in this way. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish. I'm looking forward to the launch later in a couple of weeks, months, right? Exact date. Yeah, weeks, months.
End of May. Sorry, end of April. So it's
end of April.
That's about 2 months.
Oh, yeah. Hey, after 3.5 years of building, it's actually around the corner. You can say that.
Oh yeah, that's flying. And then to slightly move over the last part, and I think we're really closing in on the end of the broadcast already. But of course, we need to highlight as well what we do as Reform for a project as BloodLoop, right? Because it's not just getting our viewers an eye on what you are building, but also making them understand why it's so important to have a partnership with a market maker, in this way with Reform. So with that said, I'm going to focus the questions a little bit to you, Jess. I think it's really similar to what we did last week, and I think it's the same questions that we need to answer, right? So probably, when did we start with the market making for BloodLoop? Because that's not today. It's been a while already, right?
No, yeah, it's been a month, I think, though, right, Pascal?
Yeah, I think it's
a month or so.
Yeah, almost a month. Yep.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it for a bit now, and I mean, we said this last week, but why is it so important for a project like BloodLoop to have a market making partner?
Yeah, so just from my 2 cents, it's really especially when you look at BloodLoop, whenever they will onboard massive amounts of users, right? And that's actually sort of the same thing that we were discussing with Hello Labs, who is focusing on streaming and putting the word of crypto out there by showcasing different projects. Or here we have like a different niche, which is very much focused on gaming, whereby you guys are putting a unique proposition in the market, whereby a lot of people will feel connected to it. So in the end, they will also, need those, as I compared it, V-Bucks, or like in this case, the BLS tokens, to actually, do in-game purchases, to actually use, different features within the game. And then it's of course essential to have a liquid book, so that those people are actually able to buy. But I think you guys actually made it, I think you guys made it a lot easier for them to also, do not have to interact with any exchanges or like decentralized. I think it's actually also a good question to have. Like, I think the onboarding side of things is actually, you made it quite easy. I think it's just like 2 clicks in the interface and they will be able to buy the tokens, I guess. They don't have to go to a gate or like any other exchange.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, that's a really important point, that those people are actually being able to do it in the game itself. But yeah, from a market making point of view, it's just, you know, especially as I mentioned, the two groups, one group being really the players, and the other group being more the speculative side of the crypto people who are going to buy the assets, but also the tokens, because they see there's a lot of adoption happening. Well, and that's where we come in. We actually suffice for a liquid market so that people are able to buy and sell on the books.
And is there any difference between, for example, a company like BloodLoop with their project and how their tokenomics work compared to, for example, Hello Labs, which we had last week, in terms of market making?
Well, I think in the essence, they both are the same. I think whenever we were talking about Axie Infinity, of course, and like like hyperinflationary tokens, yeah, those are actually very difficult. So inflationary tokens already brings challenges, right? Because you have investors, you have other stakeholders that actually have tokens freed and are on a premium. So yeah, that creates selling pressure. But therefore, yeah, you need to offset that with, you know, people that are generally interested in the game or actually think that the token will have a bright future. So then, yeah, those people will come in at the other side to actually set that off. But yeah, whenever you look then, for example, at an Axie Infinity or like any other hyperinflationary token, that's really difficult because that means that people are going to get rewarded, and then the only thing they will do is like they farm those rewards and they will sell them. As you were also saying, Pasquale, you know, that's exactly what you guys wanted to avoid, because that model actually proved itself to be, not working. So yeah, this way actually I think is very good that you guys shifted to that, because that also brings on a market making point of view for us, but also for, I think, the market in general brings a lot more stability and also potential upside.
Yep.
Yeah. And as Jess already mentioned, obviously as a market maker, we're really focusing on providing the right liquidity for projects to ensure that everyone that wants to interact with the project in whatever way is capable of doing so. But is there anything else, Pasquale? And I'm just curious from your perspective, because you've been in the space a long time. Does that align with the expectations you have from a market maker as a I guess a project founder or a CMO in that way? Obviously that's the core business, providing the liquidity, but do you see it in a different way as well? Just curious.
I think market makers are necessary to us as much as we are to market makers in a way.
Yeah.
We need them. Like, we need you guys. We need people that provide liquidity to the markets to make sure that the trading environments is healthy for everyone to trade into without encountering any form or sort of risks. At the same time, being in a super competitive market like Web3 means that you need to make sure that you're up to standards, and it's hard to meet those standards sometimes for projects. So no, we are, I think it's a mutual relationship that we have, and it's important to work with market makers to make sure and ensure the success of a product and the token side of things. Apart from that, just a couple of sweet words about you guys. So far, so good. Like, everything has been handled very professionally from you. So, yep, that's also feedback put there.
Always
Glad to hear,
appreciate
man.
that, of
Thank
course.
you. No.
Yeah, and then we hang up the call, and then he starts like,
No.
It's all PR,
I would
right?
have said that on call.
Yeah. I think you actually would, so that's only good. I appreciate that a lot. No, I mean, and it's right. It's interesting how you mentioned that. You know, it made me think indeed, like, as a market maker, you know, every project needs a market maker, but a market maker doesn't exist without projects. So we're really a service that's only there because projects need it. So you're indeed depending on projects, because without that, it wouldn't make sense. So that's an interesting thought there, and I definitely think it goes two ways. So I think that's also what really fits in with the philosophy of Reform, right? Like, transparency, of course, but also making sure that part of that is making sure that the relation between the projects and you as a market maker is strong and open. And I think that's what a lot of projects we're having issues with in the last couple of years with the people that we're working with, and what we heard in the market, where indeed it's super important to align, because you need each other, so you need to work together to make it happen. And I think that's a key to survival in the market. So I'm happy to hear that that's going in the right direction. I'm personally not too involved with the market making side, obviously, being the head of marketing. So I'm happy that that my team on that side of the angle is doing a good job. So yeah, I think without any other things, at least on my list, we got to the end of the broadcast for today. I don't know, Jess, is there anything from your side you want to add to it?
Yeah, I think, in general, as I said, we're just very much looking forward to the launch of the game. You guys have been building for a substantial amount of time. I think, yeah, as you said, right, the alignment between market maker and project is actually one of the most important things. Also, actually, yeah, in transparency, one of the things that we encountered before, of course, in our collaboration, whereby there was a little bit of a misalignment, but I think that is part of the market in general. You need to react on it, and you need to make sure that you handle it professionally together. And I think we found a great way of continuing everything, and I think that's exactly how it should be. And also, as you said, Paul, how you actually how the market maker needs the projects, how the projects need the market maker. So it needs to be like good collaboration, and well, in this case, partnership, I would almost say, by organizing these broadcasts, highlighting each other's products, and really bringing adoption and awareness to everything that we're doing. So pleasure to have you guys on board. We're really eager to support you for a longer period of time, and to make it something great.
Absolutely. Pasquale, any final remarks, final things, any big news alphas you haven't shared, the world doesn't know about the project?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having us up here. It's a pleasure working with you, and I enjoyed being able to just discuss BloodLoop with your community and with your core members. Any alpha? Well, we have our Apex mint live. The mint will go on all the way until the game goes live. And purchasing an Apex allows you to get rewarded from part of those juicy crafting fees that we were discussing before, that will be distributed back to the holders. And that's the only way to own a share of the in-game economy forever. And they will only be available until the game is live. Once the game is live, no one can purchase them anymore. And if you bought one before, you will be benefiting from the game itself because you were an early adopter. Once it's out, and no one else will be distributed those feedback. So it's an opportunity. They will be live all the way until April, but every week the price will go up. It's a BLS only mint, so you just need BloodLoop tokens to purchase them, and you just need to buy them and activate them, and they will come to your wallet. That, again, thank you guys so much, and looking forward to chatting more.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. I mean, there have been over 24,000 people that joined us today, I've seen just now. So I think it was interesting talking about the project, and it definitely got myself, and I probably can say Jess as well, pretty excited for what's there to come. But yeah, with that said, we're at the end of the broadcast. Obviously, I want to thank Jess for joining me today, like always on these broadcasts, to talk about what Reform does for the projects. A massive shout out to you, Pasquale, for joining us, talking about BloodLoop, explaining everything you have built, and making us quite bullish, I would say. So I'm pretty happy about that one. And I think actually the audience will react in the same way. So I really appreciate that. And for everyone in the audience, thank you so much for joining us today, for listening in. I hope you had a fun time. I hope you actually got bullish about the project. Because we definitely are, and I think that's also one of the key reasons why we work together with them. So I hope you got excited. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you you start playing the game when it releases. We'll definitely give some updates around that time, and hopefully we see each other at the next broadcast when we bring yet another market making project to you. Yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see each other next time.
Thanks a lot, man.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.